We'll drop some resources in for you. And of course, if you need help at the end, I'm going to give you all a link to our Mentor Match program. We have a pool of mentors who are waiting for you that would love to have one-on-one half hour with you, and they can help you out. They can help you out with your first lesson. They can help you think of what will this look like? How do I get my students to log on? So they're here for you. I'll give you that sign up link at the end today. But thank you everyone for putting those inspirational women in. And with that, I think, Felisa, I'll let you kind of take over and share your screen. Everybody, I'll be in the background on the chat. I'll help you if you want to download Minecraft for the first time. I'll give you a link to show you how to do that. But otherwise, if you can open it up, if you already have Minecraft, go for it. And let's follow along and hear first, Felisa and Natasha, what made you come up with this this lesson idea? How did this all come about, and why is it important to you?
So this lesson, as I'm going to work and talk, this lesson came about as we were working on the Good Trouble series of lessons. These lessons are a part of that series. We were trying to focus on identifying people who had been catalysts for change and good trouble all over the world. And this happened right at the time of the social justice unrest that was happening in the United States. But we wanted to include in these lessons a spotlight on not only the Black Lives Matter movement, but we wanted to spotlight women, men of all ages who have contributed and continue to contribute to making a change for others and who are standing up for the rights of others. And so we thought Malala would be a great person to spotlight. And we want everyone to know, students that and teachers, that although we spotlight these people, there are several people around the world that you could include, because we want people to make connections with these lessons as you are sharing and teaching with your students. And Natasha, please feel free to chime in about these women that we showcase.
While you're pulling up your screen, I definitely will. Absolutely. So Malala was kind of a no-brainer for us, right? Like everybody, Malala is one of those people, like, not to compare her to Oprah, but when your name stands so strong because of the change that you have made in the world, that your name, your first name, one word, just stands so strong. Malala stood up for change at such a young age, for education, equal rights education. She just wanted to receive an education. So I know we have some young ladies on the call, some young girls on the call today. She just wanted to receive the same education that young boys were receiving. And because she spoke out about that, she was attacked. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And so she stood up for change at such a young age, and it was so impactful and empowering, the effect she had around the world because of her one small act to stand up and be a catalyst for positive change around the world. And of course, even going back further than that, Emmeline Pankhurst, who we're going to talk about, she stood up for change in Victorian Britain years ago in the early 1900s. And you will find out, we are going to talk a little bit about the fact that her good change was not necessarily a quiet movement. So we will talk a little bit about that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, her good change was not necessarily a quiet movement or a nonviolent movement at all times. And so her good change, her catalyst for good change that she led was to make sure that some women, and I say some women because it didn't affect all women, but it started the ball rolling down the hill, if you will, that some women had the right to vote. And so we're going to talk about all of that today and show you the activities that accommodate or that accompany these lessons. So just super important for us, like Felisa said, to give you kind of a wide spectrum, that we weren't just showcasing men or women, that we did also showcase young people that were also making change as well.
Right, and so because I'm having problems getting on the actual Minecraft site, and for those educators who want to follow along and students, hopefully you get a chance to interact with these lessons in your classroom, I have the full lesson already here. The one thing we would like to stress to all educators as you begin to share these lessons with your students, for all of these lessons, you have the abbreviated version on the Minecraft site. But one thing that we would like to stress with you is that these lessons are very detailed, and we want students, before you even dive into the Minecraft world, we really want you to lay a foundation so that students have an understanding of the contributions and the lives of these women and what they did and the significance of their impact on women, not only back then or in their time, but present day, how it's still impacting women all over the world. So for every lesson, they flow the same way. We have the objectives, whether it's the historical context, because we ask students a series of questions that we want them to really be able to explore, and the heroic context, because all of these people that we identify, although they were everyday citizens, they were also heroes just by the impact that they've had on society. So we start with guiding questions. And these are just questions you can ask your students to help them get to thinking about this person that you're going to study, this activist, their significance for their particular movement. So start there. We also have teacher preparation information. So we did this for teachers because we wanted you to feel comfortable teaching these lessons, and we strongly encourage you to go beyond the abbreviated lesson that's on the Minecraft site, and hopefully mine will come up. But we want you to print out this full lesson plan. It is it's there as an external resource in the actual site. So you can print this. It has all of the things you need to do before the lesson. And we're going to take a few minutes just for the teachers so that you can see what is there. And we have items for you to prep, like for this Malala lesson, we have a variety of videos. And we want you to look at the videos to make sure that they're appropriate for the age group for the students that you teach. And that's why we give a variety of videos so that every age group has videos that are appropriate. We also have a Flipgrid topic that we want teachers to go ahead and set up and create for their students. And then this Iron Chef protocol and a 6-word memoir that will be a part of the actual lesson once you get there. So we start every lesson with the whole class discussion.
I was just gonna interject, Felisa, sorry. One of the things that was super important to us in these lessons was just to make sure that teachers felt comfortable enough to, if you were not familiar with this particular lesson, for example, if you're not familiar with Malala and her story, that you could take this lesson plan and that we've armed you with enough information to take this lesson plan, and that you were armed with all of the resources that you needed to be successful in implementing this lesson in your classroom. So going back to, for example, that 6-word memoir, you may not have implemented a 6-word memoir in your classroom before, but that website link will take you to information about what a 6-word memoir is and more information about that process in your classroom. So we've given you tons and tons of resources and information. And even those videos, the Malala videos that Felisa was just speaking about, depending on your grade level, they're broken down by elementary and then upper grade levels. You will find that the videos that are there for upper grade levels, a bit more advanced. The vocabulary might be a little bit more advanced. They might be a little bit more graphic in nature. So just when Felisa just hinted and said that you want to make sure that you watch these videos in advance, definitely appropriate for your students. This is definitely not something that you rush in like on a Thursday morning and say, oh, I forgot to plan something for today and I'm going to just play this video. That's not what you want to do with these.
Exactly. And so for the elementary students, we have brain pop videos. We also have Malala's interview with Ellen as a part of that. So this will be great for the younger students. For the older students, we have the ABC news story of Malala. So this will be for the upper grade students, maybe middle school, high school students. So you could start there, just getting them up to speed, I guess, with who Malala is and what she did. And so then after watching the video, this is where your students will go in and do their Flipgrid recording, and you would have already set this up. And then the student activity, this is where that Iron Chef protocol comes in. we always try to have group activities too prior to getting into the lessons. We like to lay that foundation because, as we said, we really want students to understand what's going on with that. And so everything has been provided for you. Let me see. Oh, here it is right here. This is the Iron Chef protocol. And so this takes you out to the Malala site. We ask students to just go to the site and see what Malala is all about. Everything related to Malala is here on this site. We ask students to investigate, learn more about her work and the advocacy that is taking place and for girls' education around the world. They can investigate various countries. And then on this protocol, they have one source. They're working in groups, finding a fact or an image that represents or their summary of this source. And they have one slide in 10 minutes. Just like the Iron Chef, you have a timer.
Oh, I love this, Felisa. This is amazing. What an easy way to just take this world and, within an hour, have your students show assessment of learning from Malala. That's incredible.
Absolutely.
I hope people tweet this thing. It's Iron Chef. This is incredible.
Right. And so, Natasha, feel free to jump in. So we give you all the steps for that. And then students, this is where you finally, I know you get excited, all of that pre-work, you're just okay with that. But this is where learning and the fun happens for you guys. So then you would finally get into the Minecraft world. And within that lesson, maybe 30 minutes, the students would meet in the lobby, and they would be transported to Pakistan to meet Malala and Congressman Lewis, who is our NPC, and he's really your tour guide, students. And he introduces you to Malala. She tells you about herself, and then you just explore what's going on in Pakistan. And because now you understand what has happened in Malala's village, you understand why you're needed. And teachers, this is a good time for you also to talk about the word ally and what it means, and just being there for people, and students understanding what empathy is. All of that is, and gender bias, all of that is a part of this lesson. So you explore and you see the demolition that has taken place for the schools by the Taliban as a way to keep young girls from receiving an education. And just like you, I don't know the age groups of the students who are joining us today, but Malala was a grade school student, just like you are. And she wanted to go to school, and the Taliban did not want girls to go to school, but she stood up for her right to go to school, and they did not like that, but she kept standing up. And then you'll find out the story of what happened to her, but you're going to help her rebuild this school. And so it's important. This shows not only empathy and the reason we need to be present for others, but you get to build a state-of-the-art school for the girls in the village and for girls all over the world. So this will be your contribution. But we don't stop there, teachers. It doesn't end in Minecraft. We also have a writing prompt that we want students to do, because we try to bring in various modalities to the lessons. So the students will respond to Malala's father and her. And we ask students, if you were not stopped by society, do what you dreamed of doing to change the world, what would you do? And so you can include text, images, videos to respond to this prompt. So that's one example. And then we always end our lessons with a reflection. We always want students to reflect. And Natasha, you can talk about this 6-word story, because this is one of your favorite.
It is. I just love how the 6-word stories, that 6-word memoir, forces students to just really reflect and take everything that they have learned in their lessons, and forces them to really just come up with a powerful statement to end their thought process. And so this just forces them to come up with a quick 6-word story, 6-word memoir that they can put together. And then they are able to put that together to showcase their thoughts, their emotions, their feelings. They can showcase it in Adobe Spark or PowerPoint, Bunsy, any other graphic creativity resource that they would like to choose. And then they can attach images to that. They can even make GIFs or GIFs, however you like to say it, and just make a nice, powerful graphic that shows their thought process.
Right, because we want the learning to continue beyond Minecraft. We want students to really have a grasp of this person and what they did. And then we also offer extension activities for every lesson, where they could create a social media graphic advocating for the rights of education for girls and women, using, say, for instance, Buncee or whatever platform you want to use. And then, of course, they can even act as a news reporter and report from the field using the Flipgrid Shorts camera about their awareness of the importance of education for all and the advocacy work of Malala's organization. So these are just some examples, or even write to Malala's fund on the impact and the appreciation and the gratitude that you may have for her work. So we put that in there as well. And so Natasha, and of course we always have external resources for the teachers so that you don't have to go out and search and try to find. We also have book resources for the younger students, or even Malala's memoir for the older students that could be a part of the lesson as well. And so we included all of these resources here for you to be able to see. And now, Natasha, I am going to stop sharing my screen on this because I know that our students want to get into the lesson.
Thank you, Felisa. I love it. I love David just said in the chat that, you know, he loves that it's more than Minecraft, and you brought it into like the full class, right? Like it doesn't just end at the hour, it extends before, it extends after. And that's why I love Felisa and Natasha help us see how can the 1 hour that you might spend in Minecraft extend throughout the whole day. So incredible resources, Felisa. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Or even over 2 days, because we know this may be more than an hour, but if you have an hour, you can see what you can pull in that hour to make it happen.
Absolutely. All right, I am actually going to turn off my camera just to save a little bit of bandwidth as I jump into Minecraft. It's funny, whenever we share this lesson and we go through the teacher side, all the kids are like, womp womp, where's Minecraft?
Right.
And I just have to give a shout out. Right. How do I play? I have to give a shout out. Felisa, I saw that our friend Brian is on the call. So, hey, Brian, we hope you are well.
Hi, Brian.
Thanks, folks. Great to see you.
Hey, good.
So happy you're here.
Yes. Okay, so for our kiddos who are on the call, our young scholars, our young men and women, and also our teachers who may be scared to jump into Minecraft, let me just tell you, I am not a Minecraft player. I just want to put that out there to relinquish
gamers
that you may have. You do not have to be a Minecraft expert. In fact, Felisa and I just finished a Minecraft Teacher Academy a couple weeks ago where we learned how to play Minecraft. My son, who is upstairs in virtual class right now, teaches me to play Minecraft all the time. So you do not have to be an expert. You can take these.
Right. Let your students be the expert in the room. They're already on Minecraft. If you just give them the opportunity and the exposure, they will take it from there. You take care of the content piece, they'll take care of the rest.
Absolutely. So you go ahead and do the lesson stuff and then say go play and they're good to go. So once you are in Minecraft, what we're going to do is we're going to view our library, okay? We're going to go to lessons. Then we're going to scroll down here to equity and inclusion. And this is where we're going to find our lessons in good trouble. Okay. That's where we're going to go to. And what you would do the first time you go in is create world. I am not going to create the world because I already have one and I don't want to start from scratch. I want to kind of show you what I already have in there. So I'm going to go back to the worlds that I have. But that's how you're already.
Tasha, let me just say for those educators also, because these 2 lessons were just released for Women's History Month, you can go straight to education.minecraft.net and you can just download that lesson and that world as a part of it, and you can go straight there. You don't have to go through this back channel. We go through this route, but it's there for you also. So either way.
Absolutely. So.
And did you all see how Natasha had, when she was on there, there's a link that went to the lesson resources too. So if you want that the whole lesson plan that Felisa was showing earlier, you can link direct from the world that that she was in, and then you can print it too. Some of you said, "Ooh, I want to print this up and highlight it." So you absolutely can do that.
And that's exactly what I do. I'm still analog that way. I still love me some paper.
Okay, so we are in. I see our little board is a little funky. That is not normal. There's normally text there, and oh, there we go. Just took a second to populate in.
We're having.
I know, Brian.
Atlanta, that storm.
Yeah, we have a big storm coming through Atlanta right now. So it drops you inside of what we call our Good Trouble lobby. And if you just take a look around and, you know, look up and down, this is just a lobby that I say we created. We did not create. Our engineers, who are absolutely amazing. I say our engineers, the Minecraft engineers. I just want to own them all. They're amazing. I just want, they're my best friends.
They made us look like we were so smart, like we were geniuses, and I just love it.
So they have created this amazing lobby for us. And so there's some text here on this board that showcases what the Good Trouble lessons are about. You will notice that John Lewis is your tour guide through all of the Good Trouble lessons. This podium up here to the right has a like a handbook, playbook that your students and you can interact with and go ahead and export and have. It's 22 pages long, so it is definitely something that you want to take some time to go through. It's an activity guide that walks you through kind of the who, what, when, where, why of the lessons. Lots of good stuff in here just to kind of peruse and walk around. All of these NPCs, if you click on them, if you right click on them, it will drop you or transport you directly to their part of the world. So this, if you will think about it like this, is one world with seven different mini worlds inside of it, if you think of it like that. So for the purposes of today, we're going to focus on two worlds. We're going to focus on Malala's world and Emmeline Pankhurst. And we're actually going to start with Emmeline Pankhurst just because it's a little bit more convenient for me to show you to get back to Malala. So again, Emmeline Pankhurst is our activist, our Good Trouble activist that caused good trouble in Victorian Britain. So if you look around, you'll notice that there is smoke from the factories. I mean, this world is absolutely amazing. The architecture of the buildings, the cobblestone on the ground. I mean, the engineers just did a phenomenal job. Even though down to the way that the people are dressed, it is definitely Victorian Britain. And so Emmeline,
the signage, and just FYI, because the behind the scenes, the research that was done to make sure that these worlds were historically accurate and their representation was so important for us. And I know as educators, we like to make sure that students get that real world experience. And this is truly an immersive experience. They are truly learning as they're interacting in these worlds.
Absolutely. So much so, I know we're talking about, that's a great point, Felisa. So I know we're talking about Women's History Month right now, but if we go back last month to Black History Month, where we showcased the lesson with the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Alabama, if you look at it in Minecraft and then your student were actually to go and stand by the bridge, they would just be in awe because it looks exactly like it looks in Minecraft. It's amazing. So here we are again. Emmeline Pankhurst fought for change to get women the right to vote. So if we click on John Lewis, he's going to introduce us to her. She was a catalyst for Good Trouble in London way back in the early 1900s. She was the founder of the Women's Franchise League and helped organize and lead the women's suffrage movement, which helped white British women win the right to vote. And I just want to point out, for our students that may need that assistance with Immersive Reader, it's built right in here to Minecraft. So for our students that need that assistance, it's right there for you. When we come over here and click on Emmeline Pankhurst, she's going to introduce us to her movement and tell us a little bit about what she did. The one thing that I love in our research, we found that they used to pronounce the suffragette movement, suffragettes movement, because we intended to get the vote. Anywhere you see these blue hyperlinks, that's going to take you to an external web resource outside of Minecraft, which will help your students learn. It may take you to a YouTube video or to an external website. So just keep that in mind. You will sometimes see a few of those there as you're perusing around. And so anywhere you see these green beams, so that big tall green beam, that's where you want to direct your students. So students working along today, I want you to go find that green beam. Okay, I'm lying to you. I want you to find the yellow beam. I'm sorry. I want you to find the yellow beam. Those are your activities. Okay, So when you find your yellow beams, you're going to right click and it's going to tell you what your activity is in that particular world. So in this one, it's talking about women now have the right to vote, and she wants you to share the good news with the women of the city and let them know that their voices can be heard. And so what you have to do is go around this city in London and talk to all 8 of the women, and then the London gates will open. Okay. So you can go through here if you want to. There's just, you know, things that you can go look at in there. But over here on the right of my screen, you'll notice there are 8 different women's names. And so what you're supposed to do in this particular world is go around. So we gave you an easy one right here. Rebecca's right here waiting for you. There we go. So Rebecca's right here waiting for you. So I think I'm frozen. There we go. So we're going to come up here to Rebecca. We're going to right click on Rebecca, and she's saying, oh, I can vote. I thought I saw a lass or 2 in that queue. I'm going to finish my drink and march right over there and cast my vote. Great. So now that I've talked to Rebecca, you'll notice that her name highlighted from yellow to green, and I can move on and find the other 7 women. Now I will tell you, for my students that are secret sleuths, there are 2 that took me a little while longer to find. In fact, the last one, I believe her name is Mary. Yes. She is hidden. Oh, she's hidden. Stephen and the Minecraft engineers, y'all hid her so well. So anyway.
But I must tell you that students, we were in Canada virtually on Monday, and some of the students found all 8 really fast.
Yeah. So, you know, you're going to go around and find all 8 of these women. Okay. So once you find them all, the gate will open. So this is the activity for Victorian Britain.
Natasha, before you stop, I want to just, before we leave this world, I want to just tell the students and the teachers, as you explore these activists, you become familiar and really you get insight into who they were as people. And one thing that I admired about Emmeline Pankhurst, and I want to call them her crew, her daughters and some of the other women.
Her crew.
They were not your typical quiet, dainty women. They were not having it. They wanted their right to vote, and they were going to get it. They would get rowdy. They would throw rocks and break windows. They were put in jail for being disruptive like that, but they wanted to express how bad it was that they wanted to vote, and they were going to just cause havoc until they got that right to vote. And so sometimes their good trouble is not always quiet.
Absolutely. And that's a great point. You think, you know, and women in England, you know, the stereotypical, you know, dainty, quiet, Emmeline Pankhurst, her crew, like Felisa said, and we learned it. It was her daughters. It was her and her daughters started this movement, and they, you know, were able to, you know, quote unquote, rally the troops and bring, you know, a bunch of women along with them for the cause, and they did it. So
even as much as going on hunger strikes, she did that several times.
Yes. So then once you have found all 8 women, we see we can come back here to John Lewis. We can either go through the gates or just go back to the lobby. So I'm going to go back to the lobby here, and I'm going to come over here to Malala. Okay. So I'm going to come over here to Malala. I'm going to right click on her, and we are going to transport quickly to Pakistan. So we have just quickly in 2 seconds flown from London to Pakistan. All right. So here we are again. John Lewis is our tour guide. Again, for our students and our teachers, pay attention to your landscape, attention to your architecture, pay attention to your NPCs, what they look like, what the kind of clothing they have on. Our engineers just did an amazing job of differentiating from world to world. Okay. Once you are here, what you are going to notice here with John Lewis is, again, he is going to introduce you. Let me move forward. He's going to introduce you to Malala and tell you a little bit about what her cause was. Like we said, she wanted girls to have an equal right to education, just like boys. And her good trouble began in 2012. And this is super important for our students to understand. This was not that long ago. I know for some of our students, they may not have been born in 2012. But if you were to, you know, kind of share time with your students and share with them, you know, what was happening in 2012, I think they would understand and it really was not that long ago. Okay. So here is Malala. We can right click on her, learn a little bit more about her. And she talks about winning that Nobel Peace Prize in 2014 for her efforts. Again, immersive reader built right in there for our students that need that assistance. Okay. So we're going to come over and we're just going to keep going. And remember I said that there are like 7 different worlds built into this one. So we're going to stay here in Pakistan. You will notice this little street here, that's a different world. So don't venture on over there to that street with the purple trees. Stay over here.
Right, you don't have your passport to travel there. So
there, Africa over there. We need you to stay there. This right here represents a United Nations truck. So you'll notice the gentlemen in the army fatigues, women in the army fatigue, they are United Nations workers. And so John Lewis, this is where he'll transport you to South Africa here. But the United Nations truck is here. This represents. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't know if it's your, okay, it cleared up. I think it was some internet connectivity issues going on.
Oh, okay. The United Nations, and it very well could, that storm looks like it's heading this way. The United Nations truck represents that there is peaceful change coming and that it's allowing for this area to be rebuilt, that there's protection and that that it's safe for, in this particular instance, for this school to be rebuilt. And so if I come over here to Malala and click on her, your activity here, again, we're looking for those yellow beans. Those are our activities. Malala is telling us now that the Taliban has been removed from power in the village. You've been asked to work with the Malala Fund to help rebuild the school that was destroyed. Build a school that will enable girls here to benefit from a free, safe, and high-quality education. And so here you are now able to open the chest, and in the chest we've given you different materials that you can pull down into your inventory to go ahead and build a state-of-the-art school that's going to allow for girls to receive a high-quality education. And I've already started to build this one up, and if you come over to the back, you'll notice, here we go, that you do have even more land back here that you're able to build on. So for students that are just logging in, you'll notice that you kind of get the shell of what could potentially be 4 walls. But if you come back here, you could even maybe build a garden or a computer lab or whatever it is that you want to build. We had a student, like Felisa said, we were in Canada earlier this week, that built a 4-story school in about an hour.
Right, you're only limited by your imagination. And remember, you're rebuilding this state-of-the-art school for these students because girls weren't allowed to go to school, but now they can. So we want them to have the best of the best in school and an innovative school. So anything you think of, put it in that school because they deserve it.
Absolutely. And so you'll notice that you do have more area, more land that you're able to build on. So don't just limit yourself to the 4 walls that are there. And so this is your activity here in Pakistan to help Malala rebuild this school. And so when you find, I actually passed her already, the NPC of Malala that's back in this area, there is a hyperlink to that website that Felisa shared with you earlier that takes you to her website that will give you more information just about the Malala Fund and the work that she's doing in several different countries around the world, so you can get more information there. The last person, go ahead, Felisa.
I was going to say, and for our educators, if you'll notice in every lesson, we highlight or identify additional people for that particular movement, or that your students can research or you can bring into the conversation. But we want everyone to really make your own connections depending on where you are in the world. We know that there are people local or nationally, maybe in your state or your community, that you want to focus on. So we really want students to make those real world connections as well, beyond Minecraft.
Absolutely. And we, even in Felisa and I sharing these lessons with different students in classrooms across different countries. We have even had to stretch ourselves to do research about the connections in different countries. So Felisa and I have learned more in the past few months than we even thought. So the learning never stops, no matter
It
how
never
old.
stops.
Never stops. So
Right,
definitely,
because we like to make the connections to the country where we are supporting students or bringing these lessons so that they can really feel close and connected to what's going on in these lessons.
absolutely. So the last person that we want to introduce you to, we are now back in the United States. So we have transported back to the United States, and you see our world is still loading here. So I'm going to give it just a second. And again, we still have John Lewis and Dr. Martin Luther King here now. This is taking us to the civil rights movement. So we are in the 50s and 60s. But I'm going to come over here to our bus. And I don't see the chat box because I'm in Minecraft. But for our students that are on the call, who might we be coming to encounter on this bus? Students, any ideas? Drop that in the chat. Felisa, let me know what our students might say.
I sure will.
And if they were on with us last month, then they should know. This will be a freebie answer for them.
Ooh, Sana got it. Sana thinks it's Rosa.
Yes, quick on the draw. Yes, indeed. Thank you for that. We have rock stars. Our scholars came with the knowledge this morning, so we appreciate that. And any other students, you can still put it in there if you know, if you didn't see Sana's response. Very good.
My computer's running a little slow, but if you come up here on the bus and I see there, am I frozen again? There we go. Right here, you'll see there is our text, there is John Lewis, and if I turn, let me back up a little bit and not be all up in John Lewis's face. There she is, Rosa Parks. And so somebody in earlier when we first started, Wendy asked who is an inspiring woman. Somebody did mention Rosa Parks. And so we would be remiss if we did not mention Rosa Parks in this era of time as a change maker and a catalyst for change. And so John Lewis does introduce her story. And so here's what she says. She says that she planned her good trouble, and even though she lost her job because of it, her case went all the way to the United States Supreme Court, which ruled that bus segregation was unconstitutional. She led the fight against racial segregation with Dr. King and other leaders like John Lewis. And so we've given you some information here about her life and the bus boycott. And so for those of you not familiar with Rosa Parks' story, even though we don't have a full lesson plan just on Rosa Parks, we do have a lesson plan that talks about the civil rights movement. Rosa Parks was instrumental in leading the bus boycott. And for those of you not familiar with her story, she got off work one day and got on the bus to go home. And back then it was a segregated bus, of course. And so there was the front of the bus that was the white section and the back was the black section. And so she was sitting in her section, the black section, and a white gentleman got on the bus and asked for her seat. And she said, no, I'm not giving you my seat. And that is what was the start of the bus boycott. And so, you know, just this is what I always say, one small word, saying the word no, or one small word and saying the word yes is being the catalyst for change, standing up for what's right, standing up for change, standing up for what's going to make a difference. And it's not always what's going to make a difference for you personally. Sometimes it's standing up for what's right for other people. When you live for something bigger than yourself, I feel like that's when you really see change. Sorry, I'm getting on a soapbox. And so, yes, this is Rosa Parks. So I definitely had to mention her as another powerful woman during Women's History Month. So with that, Felisa, do you want to jump in? Is there anything else?
So, yes, one other thing we have in our Black Lives Matter world, that we also have the founders of the Black Lives Matter movement, 3 women who can also be added to this Women's History Month as we celebrate and honor women all over the world who have stood up or made a difference in really their movements or their areas, whatever it is, they have impacted change. So that is just something to think about as well. but just once again, utilize the lessons, really see how they connect with what you're studying, with your content. Also, we strongly recommend, I can't stress it enough, using those full lessons that we've put in there, those external resources, because we really try to give educators everything they needed, because we know how it is in the classroom. You just need to make sure we don't want you to have to go out and hunt and look for things. We want you to have everything you need so that you can implement those lessons. And Wendy, I would love if anyone has questions in the chat, if they want to ask us questions, we would love to answer questions.
I love it. Thank you both for an incredible walkthrough. I'd love to know, so everybody, if you could drop in a question, do you have questions about the content itself, questions about what this might look like with your students, how it might look like with Minecraft? Put your questions in, but I'll ask my first question. What are your recommendations for just getting this logistically set up with your students? Would you run this and have every student in their own world? And then we saw your protocol, right? So they might prepare a slide with their learnings on it afterwards. But what would that look like, sitting down, getting ready for that hour or 2 hours where they get to play and learn? Are you having them download and then all join their own separate world? Tell us a bit how that would look.
So really for these lessons, it depends on how comfortable the teacher is with having multiplayer world and how comfortable the students are. But for this, we recommend, if possible, them being in their own world. If you feel comfortable with having all of the students in the same world, then you can do that. And they can really, with that, they can collaborate on the bill. So that would be good too, because now you are bringing in those 21st century skills, because they're going to have to communicate and collaborate on these projects. So it may even be that they work out a plan to help whatever the build is, work together to complete that assignment. But
one of our MIEE friends, Kyle, he put all of his students in the lobby, their NPCs, and took a selfie with them.
Oh, yes.
It's on Twitter somewhere. It's so cute. It's so
Absolutely.
cute. He got them all in the same world, but you could definitely put them all in their own world as well.
And then also for teachers, if you want to project onto like your whiteboard in the classroom or your interactive board, even if you have all of your students in the same world, or you could project and just have you as you're going through also. I would recommend also teachers just get in there, try go through the world with your students. It's good. They would love to see you. If you come to some hiccups in the world, trust and believe. They will give you the hacks to help you. So just don't be afraid to try.
I think I said Kyle. It's Andy. If you, Andy Canuvin, I say his last name Canuvin. It may, yeah. However, if you look him up on Twitter, he's got a ton. He's really like digging Minecraft right now. So if you look at his Twitter handle or even his Instagram, I'm sure he would love to share with you how he got all his kiddos in there in one world.
And I see, shout out to David. He says that he's going to prep this lesson tonight and give it to his students tomorrow. So that's what we love to hear. And please, if you're on Twitter, tag us so that we can follow you to see how everything works and flows with your students as you implement these lessons with your students.
I love it. Do you think you could show one more time, Natasha? It looks like Clara as a student wants to know, all right, well, how do I get there again? Do you mind showing one more time how they, as a student, how they just log in and they can get right into that world? They don't even have to wait for their teacher if they don't want to.
They sure do not. So let me work some magic here.
While you do that, I've got some follow-ups. We'll get you to load that up, and then Clara, we will end with that final reminder of how to get in there. So 1 second, I'm going to show my whole screen here. So hang on, I got a lot going on, but there we go. Can everybody see these beautiful faces on my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So just a reminder, could everybody come off mute and give me a big clap, and we can say 1, 2, 3, thank you to these incredible presenters. So everybody unmute, put your face on, and 1, 2, 3, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all are so welcome.
Thank you.
You're making my heart smile.
Thank you.
Absolutely making my heart smile. Love it, love it, love it.
Please
get
give
emotional, guys.
Oh, you should be, because you do a lot for us. I mean, this is Women's History Month.
Don't say anymore. I don't want to cry. Don't say anymore. Look, that's
Y'all
enough.
are making,
Stop right there.
y'all are making history. Do give Felisa and Natasha a follow. Be sure, we're gonna choose our door prize winner right now. So last chance to put something you learned today, something you were inspired on the hashtag Minecraft EDU. And then follow that, because you'll get more inspiration from not only these two ladies, but all across the Minecraft universe, you'll get some good stuff. Let's see. Ooh, our winner's going to be, oh my gosh, I'm scrolling, and it looks like Math Barb. Oh, I think she left already. But Barb, if you hear this, you're a winner. And then also Linda. Awesome, Linda, thanks so much. I'll drop in the chat an email that you can email me to redeem your door prize today. But a few other notes to keep going on your journey. Don't forget, you have to actually get Minecraft. So if you don't have it, I'll put a link in the chat where you can go to download it. You also can demo it. If you don't have it yet, you can demo our hour of code. Your students can give it a try, and then maybe you can share that with your technology administrators to say you're interested in doing this more often in your class. If you have any needs for support, right? Maybe David's going to go play tomorrow. Something's not working right. Our support team works around the clock to make sure that we get support to you as fast as we can. So I'll drop this link in the chat as well, where you can make a ticket. We'll get back to you really fast if you even write workshop in the title, because we'll know that you were just here trying to figure this out with us. I'll drop that in the chat. Also, please join our community at educommunity.minecraft.net. Not only can you get a bunch of articles about how to get started, but here under community and in support, you can talk with other teachers, you can ask questions. We have our community moderators. We'll get back to you about ideas about how to code in the classroom, or ideas about, you know, how do I actually get my students in here? We're here to help everybody. We want to see you in our community. I mentioned if you need more support after today, we've got about 600 mentors around the world, and about 80 of them have signed up to do these mentor sessions. And if you sign up on our form, we will send you an invitation to them, and they'll walk through screen share with you, take it slow, so you can do a Malala lesson in your own classroom. So I'll drop that link in the chat as well. Also, we would love to see you at upcoming community webinars. We will be having Max Brooks, the author of The Island and now brand new book, The Mountain. He's going to be here, and you can bring your students to ask him questions. I guarantee your students perhaps have run across this book. It's really popular. So I'll drop those. It's coming up next week. We hope to see you there. And then we also have this amazing, these are our mentors as well, skills webinar series. So Mary's going to talk about MakeCode, and Debbie's going to do some Python. If those are foreign words to you, it's okay. Come and learn how to code with Minecraft. Nick is going to talk about social emotional learning. We have an amazing lesson called The Mindful Night. He's going to do just like we did today with Malala, walk you through what that actually looks like. How do I teach that lesson to my students? For my geeks out there who want to start engineering with Minecraft, Dan is going to tell you how to build some of these amazing structures. And then esports with Minecraft with Stephen Reed from the Microsoft team and Julie and Chris from Fresno Unified. Come, we love seeing you at these events, so we hope you continue your learning journey. Let us know any questions in the chat that we can help y'all out with. And then I'm going to stop sharing and let oh gosh, there we go. There's my stop sharing. And then, yeah, if you wanted to show Natasha for Clara that last step on how a student might join, that would be awesome.
And Wendy, somebody in the chat wanted to know, how do they register for the webinars?
Oh, sure thing. Let me drop those links in the chat. There's Max Brooks' link to do it. This is the EDU skills series, the esports and the SEL. And then let me also drop in the form to sign up for a mentor is right here. Please do that as soon as you can, because we're going to do some matching next week. So if you want to get help right away, fill that form out and we'll get you somebody to talk to for a half hour. And then here's the link if you need support from anybody. Thank you, Jacqueline, for all of your ideas in the chat. All right, last call is how do we get in here one more time if I'm a student? Go for it, Natasha.
Right. Well, you're in there, you're going to go ahead and you're going to log in. Make sure you're logged in. I'm already logged in. There's my name over my NPC there. I'm going to go ahead and click on play. It's going to pull up all of my worlds. I can either view the worlds that I already have. If I have not already gotten in